According to the polls, Joe Biden is beating Donald Trump by over 6 points. And in beating him by over 6 points, it shows also, it would show an electoral college rout. But you know what? Those same people believe by 3% margin that Donald Trump is going to remain the president. In other words, they're so scared they believe he can't win. Look, here's the deal. The reality is Donald Trump is going to lose this election if we do our part, which means we get our people out to vote. Now, if we really do our part, if we really do what we're supposed to do, it's going to be a landslide. And I want you to listen to Anand Giridharada because he has a message I think Democrats should have flowing off of their tongue. I've spoken about this several times in several blogs I wrote. He expressed it in a pretty darn good way here. Check this out.
Anand, I think there's always this sort of temptation with Trump that because he's so anomalous and so odious in so many ways, because he does and says things that are genuinely outrageous, to sort of be lured into running against him on that.
As much as there are these revelations every few hours for the last few years, I think it's important to remember that his resilience to them is not a property of him so much as a property of where our country is right now. I think we are in a cold civil war, as I've described it, where we have these two mutually impermeable societies that have their own temples of reality, their own tribal rituals, their own languages, their own media, their own sense of what is true and false. And very few things cross the line. And so I think a revelation on its own, an Atlantic story on its own, which exists completely within one of those tribal worlds and not within the other, those things on their own do very little. But I think there is a temptation to fatalism about that is also wrong. It is not the case that nothing crosses over from one kingdom to the other. If that were the case, Trump's approval rating and electoral odds would have been the same every day for the last few years. And we all know that's not true. They go up and down. So things get through, but it's important to understand what gets through. And I think often Democrats continue to speak in a tribal language that doesn't quite get true or have too much faith in these scandals doing the work on their own. And I think what's important now in these last 50 whatever days is to really find deep, guttural, values-based language that speak to 99% of Americans, that tell a story about this corruption that has gone on for years, tell a story about this heartlessness, about this cruelty, that ties it to kitchen table issues, that explains that the reason you don't have health care is because of men like this, but doesn't simply rest on the laurels of this being a bad dude.
It's not just a bad dude, and that is where we have to come from. It's not just a bad dude. And we have to have respect for the other side, the people on the other side who bought the Kool-Aid from the other side. It is impending, and we have to do what's right. It is we who are asking these people to come over and do what's right because they've been fooled into believing that things are okay for them and that we are the problem. We explain to them, like Anand just said, why guys like this have you in the condition that you're in right this minute. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.